recognize, evaluate, respond to system interactions, overall apply system thinking. The principle number 5 reminds the project leader that we should start thinking holistically. We should think about the big picture. Let's briefly look into the statement itself and the detail of what is called system thinking. So, we need to recognize, evaluate and respond to dynamic circumstances with the surrounding the project in a holistic way to positively affect the project performance. So, you can say that the project is working inside the internal and external environment, and we should respond to it in such a way so that it will produce better project performance. Now, what is system and what do we do when we apply a system thinking? Say that your project has various subsystems. Say you have a one type of team, another team might be supplied by a vendor, you may have a quality group who might be working in a different setup, you may have an integration, you may have another component team and maybe another governance team. So, there could be a various component or various elements in your system which in your project which are taking something and producing some results. Now, when you are handling the project, you are handling the complex interaction among these systems. Say, if you restrict some type of changes in a one particular component of your project, it will also impact the other areas. It will never be limited to that particular component. So, these things are interacting with each other and coming together, they are expected to produce project outcome. So, that is something it will produce a result, deliverable which will help us in achieving the outcome. So, inside the project has multiple subcomponents, and as a project leader we should understand how these various subcomponents interact with each other so that I can get the optimum result from this interaction. And this way of thinking is a system thinking, where I understand the nature of system, I understand how one variable impacts the other part of it, I understand the overall delay or a time factor it takes. Say you may have a one component which is performing poor. It might be happening that right now that poor performance may not be impacting the other deliverables, but there will be a time after which this poor performance will result into a bottleneck. So, as a project leader we need to apply and understand how the various interactions are happening and how they are going to impact us in a long term. Now, this is your project. Now, you also work in your organization. There might be a resourcing department, there might be a governance group, there could be a compliance group, there could be leadership, there are various things and they also interact with each other. It is not like they are isolated, and these things are also getting interaction from external system where the government laws, social conditions, other things are happening. So, your project is also operating in a complex web of other systems. So, we can say it is a systems of systems, and a change in organizational recruitment policy may have an impact on your project, may not be today, but after some time. Maybe after a delay of 1 month. Maybe today you do not need anyone in your project, you may not be worried about it, but after 1 month or 2 months when you have a need of recruitment, the new recruitment policy is going to impact you as well. So, here we are saying it is a systems of systems. It is like the idea of systems are they are difficult to be managed in a one way. When you do some change here, you do not have a clear visibility of where else the thing will will produce an impact, and it may take some time before the impacts comes in, but awareness of those interactions and that impacts probably make you ready to face that particular situation in advance. So, that is the whole idea of systems and applying system thinking at this particular level. So, in a summary level, what you can understand here is, as a project leader, when I am working on a one section, I should not think a particular component or particular project is isolated from rest of the other sections. Inside the project, I understand various components may have a direct or indirect influence and I need to apply the holistic view. Similarly, when I am dealing with a one particular project, I also need to see my organization's components, my environmental components also will have today or tomorrow impact on my project deliverables, project outcomes, and I should be vigilant in finding them in detail or in early stages so that I can find out some corrective and preventive action. And if I do so, then I am saying I am applying system thinking, which means I am recognizing, evaluating and responding to the dynamic circumstances which are happening within or surrounding the project in a holistic manner so that it produces a positive results. Now we will talk about some of the skills of a project leader which can help us in building this system thinking, a specific skills, and then we will talk about some of the advantages which will come by applying system thinking. So simply, empathy with your business areas. If you understand the overall business context, say I am here in a project, if I only keep focusing on my output, my deliverable, I won't be able to understand how these things are going to impact me. So if I have a business empathy, I have a big picture view, I understand the business case, if I understand the business need, that empathy and understanding helps me in applying system thinking. Yeah, and that's something is also followed by that we should focus on big picture. Big picture which is not limited to just producing a deliverable, also focusing on uses of the product, also focusing on various stakeholders and various external interactions which are happening. One of the another skill which you need to develop in order to apply system thinking is challenging your assumptions or a mental models. So it's not like when you are doing estimation, you might have assumed a particular cost structure. You might have assumed particular productivity. You might have assumed particular approach of doing development. Are they fixed? Can you change them? Can you find a better cost? Can you have a different or a better approach for doing development? We should challenge our assumptions or our mental model. Mental model can be considered as the way we have been thinking, our thinking patterns. If we challenge them by way of appreciating the innovative ideas, by revalidating our assumptions, that helps us in being ready with the changing circumstances. So big picture view, understanding the business and challenging your own assumption. Seek external views. Now, it is again about openness, about willing to learn from your project context or even beyond, sometime in an unrelated space. So we should as a project leader keep looking at how things are emerging in other projects, how things are emerging in the industry, how things are emerging inside our organization, and we should also go and take advices from experts whenever it is needed. So that's another skill which helps us in building the system thinking approach. Use of integrated methods. So the idea here is these small components may be coming as a deliverable, may be coming as a work packages or a work deliverables at the end, but we should focus on their frequent integration and seeing the impact of an integrated thing. So the more and more, and many times project managers and project leaders are known as an integrator who can integrate the big picture and show the ultimate result. So we should be applying, and the frequent early integration help us in identifying the overall system behavior. Because things are unpredictable till the time they get integrated, some of the system level issues will not be visible. So we need to apply skills to ensure that we have integration methods in place. Use of modeling and integrated management, it's an extension of the same thing. We can apply various modeling to understand or model a system interaction, how possibly the environment is impacting us, how our estimations are impacting the deliverables, how the deliverables are impacting the outcomes, and if we have a model to represent and see the overall system interaction, that helps us in becoming more vigilant and more careful about how the systems are operating. So the essence of system thinking, if I take it here till, and before I talk about benefits, I re-emphasize because I feel that project leaders are not many times aware of a term called system thinking. You can also think like a system, like a human body, it's a system. Yeah, and many times the whole system may not operate efficiently if we don't create a common goal for the system, the common output goal for a system. Say something which tastes good may not be easy to digest, or sometimes might be easy to digest, may not taste good, yeah, the both way. So you need to have a clear goal that what you want to do today, what is your overall fitness level you are expecting from yourself, and based on that you decide what to eat, what not to eat. That's apply system thinking. Yeah, similarly that we need to focus on what is my project, what is our overall result, and when I am talking about intermediate components, I need to see how they interact with each other so that they have a healthy project delivery rather than the particular component excel, if this guy excel and produce exceptional result, may not necessarily produce exceptional outcome. So that is how, as a project leader, I understand the system thinking is about not to ensure an excellent component performance, but to produce a possible optimum system performance. Yeah. Where in that optimum system performance, maybe this system has to work at a below exceptional level, because this component working at a little less optimal level help us in producing the overall system outcome. So I don't have to eat something which very tasty. That will be maybe an exceptional performance for my taste part of a system, but that may not produce the whole overall system performance, and that is the whole idea of system thinking. So I need to apply inside the project, I need to apply overall when I am dealing with the environment also, same for like a human body, I need to apply for the environment also, for myself as well, and we need to, we are operating as a system, we are operating inside the systems of system, that is something we are there, and we have learned understanding the big picture, understanding the business idea help us in doing that, and ability to integrate. Now you might have already got it, what is the benefit of it, but still I want to focus on some amount of benefits of applying system thinking. Its overall alignment. As we have learned in our previous principle, focus on value. As we are progressing towards value delivery, things are changing, things are not stable. And since we need to produce an optimum value, we need to look at the whole system. Yeah? I can't just compromise on cost or compromise on quality, I need to see how I produce the overall outcome. So if I apply the system thinking, it helps us in creating alignment with the stakeholder on benefits, objective, or a project vision, because I as a project leader can understand the system well, promote that system well, and that produce a better alignment. It is something which helps me in doing early warning. See, the whole idea here is how early we can find out the issues, how early we can find out the changes, how early we can find out the assumptions which are going false. We can't control them probably. Yeah? If something is happening in our external system and sometimes even the internal system, the sooner we detect it, the sooner we can probably find out the remedy of it. Yeah? We probably can't ensure that it should not occur. We can't ensure that our assumption should always come true. That might be very, very difficult thing, or we may not, we might be dealing in a very safe area. But when we do it in an uncertain area, our assumptions are going to be, many of our assumption is going to be wrong. The sooner we find out, the sooner we change our plan and sooner we adapt to it. So applying system thinking help us in generating those early warnings. We can identify the risk early, we can identify the uncertainties early, and we can also identify the opportunities. These uncertainties and risks and assumptions many times also puts an opportunity for you to save the cost or to produce a better customer satisfaction or a better outcome for your project space. So it helps us in creating the alignment, it helps us in creating early warning signals and ability to adapt, as we spoke about, because the sooner we know, the sooner we can resolve the problem. The another thing, it gives us a good clear communication. When I understand this system, when I am talking to the stakeholder, I talk holistically. Many times as a project leader, you might have faced a situation, you go to a stakeholder, you are explaining something and they are not getting it. You are focusing on, I want to do this and this deliverable is not coming, and they don't get you. Because you are unable to relate to their environment, you are unable to relate to their language. So when I have a system thinking, I can show, I am talking about my deliverable, but I want to let you know that this is going to impact your business this way. Yeah. Now I can only tell when I have a system thinking, you know that your deliverable is going to impact the future business in this particular way, and looks like you should be caring for the impact which is going to happen in your business area. If yes, let's work together and resolve it. So it improves our effectiveness of our communication because it helps us in seeing the holistic picture. I am sure at some extent you must be doing it, but here in the principle number 5, we want to create a clear, explicit focus for the project leaders that you need to consider the overall systematic approach, focus on recognizing, evaluating and responding to the system level dynamic changes and interactions which are happening, so that you can produce an optimum result for your business.